All right, so looking at the dollar, taking everything off, it looks like a counter trend line has been broken, right? So what I'm looking at is, first of all, what's the trend that I'm trying to go with? It's bearish. There's that. Second of all, and I mean, it goes without saying, we're currently in an area of liquidity on the weekly. You look to the left, and this level was used as support, and so is this level. Right. So it's a really popular area here. Um, Again, I do see that we broke out of this major trend line, but the weekly's still bearish. And when we go on the 4 hour, that main counter trend line that I was plotting, it broke with just one candle, right? But now for me, that makes me perk up and say, okay, cool. And what I realized is that when I do get my counter trend line break, the 4 hour also falls into flow, right? Because we have a level of support and then boom. Now to me, the 4 hour is bearish and it will remain bearish until it breaks out of this counter trend line up here. So, with that being said, um, I think that if price comes into, excuse me, into this level, what I'm going to be looking for is just a double top on like the 30-minute, even the 15-minute, right? Because the 4 hour is smooth, so the 1 hour had to break to get here. And when that's the case, to me, this is simply a 1 hour setup, and I'm able to look for 15-minute candlesticks, just think, think. Boom. So this is the move that I'm going to be looking for today. And because I'll be looking for dollar to go bearish, um, EU should fly today. EU should fly today. The thing about EU though is that it hasn't broken out of its counter trend line, nor has it even touched the key level. So to me, it's kind of, I don't know, I know that they work together inversely, but this is a little bit interesting. I probably wouldn't get involved into EU until I see a very clear break, but at the same time, if I happen to see some type of double bottom on the smaller time frames, I'd probably I'd probably buy just because I believe myself to have an understanding of where prices is gonna go today, but yeah. I really want to see what price is gonna be doing around 9:30. And then I realized my moves are actually mostly around from 11 to 1 to 2 p.m. So, and usually now is just like the setup to try to get to that ideal place where buyers want to buy. So, I do have a buy bias on EU, but it hasn't broken a counter trend line yet, so it's not something that makes me very confident, especially since we haven't even gotten to a key zone. Like, there's so many just uh, feelings about that. So, I still have a bearish bias on EU, not gonna lie. Like, it has to do more in order for me to be confident. Let's see. Yeah, there's no way I can get around that. It simply is what it is. But I'm not saying it can't fly bullish. So let's see. Now for GJ, I think it's like in a little counter trend. And again, once it breaks out of that, or honestly, once it comes into this 50% level, I'm gonna start looking for buys. UCAD, it touched a major fib level, but it's not very enticing to me. It hasn't done anything worthy of me trying to get into that. Gold, it broke this inner counter trend line. right here. And right now, the 4 hour to me, we had a lower high, and now it is maintaining higher lows. So that's one indicator that price could potentially continue bullish. But I don't know. Again, everything I'm moving after 9:30, but it could be potential bias today. I don't know. And UJ is the one that looks best to me, to be honest. Like, to get into UJ sells, ticky ticky tick. Let's see. So I was really looking and waiting for was the break of this major counter trend line or this minor inner counter trend line, and we have a nice, beautiful break of that, which also caused the 4 hour to break bearish, which is exactly what I want to see again. And that's why I think, okay, this looks like it could have the most reasonable setup for some sells. So, oh, and GU. GU is another one, right? Because it looks way better than EU because one, it's actually on a key level. Two, you actually met the 50% fib. And three, oopsies, like the 4 hour broke out of that, kind of strong. Not a single thing for that happened with EU. So it's a little bit weird, you know? But again, if I see some bullish moves, if I see some double bottoms, I'm getting in. So I'll put yes for this. So yes for GU buys potentially, UJ sells potentially, and gold, I mean, it just depends on what it gives me. It might require a sacrifice of your firstborn. Yeah. If I see something here, I might be interested. But until then, it's more so just watching and waiting and being wary. But my three best bets for today are GU buys, UJ sells, and some gold buys as well. And again, this is all based off of assuming that the daily it wants to head bearish. And even if it's just to here. Because is there a potential we can print a double bottom on the weekly? Yeah, sure, 100%. But until that happens, I'm still gonna sell. And we got news in 29 minutes, and that will probably add some volatility to some stuff I'm looking at. So yeah, happy trading. Happy trading.